Alright guys, here's a video to help you get started in Flash. So we're in Flash CS4 here, and you'll see on the main screen you've got a startup window. There's 3 columns which you can choose from to create documents. So you've got your recently opened, new documents and templates. So for this example it doesn't matter if we choose to create an ActionScript 3 or an ActionScript 2 file. I'll just click on the top one and we'll create our first file here. So inside Flash, you've got your timeline. So this is where our animation will occur. Over on the right hand side here, you've got your panels. Okay. And on the left hand side, you've got your tools. The main tool that we'll be using today will be in here. So if we click and hold down, we've got our rectangle and oval tools, so we'll be looking at those. And over on the right hand side in our panels, we've got our properties panel, which we'll be looking at as well. Alright, so to start with, I thought we'd take a look at drawing a basic shape in Flash and making it animate. So we'll go to the circle tool or oval tool, and if I draw my circle and I hold down Shift on my keyboard, I should be able to create a nice uniform circle. I can go to the black arrow up the top here, select my object, and you can see that it's selected by all these white little dots in there. I can change the color down here, so choose a color that I'd like, or a gradient maybe. Alright, and what we want to do is make this object move. So we're going to make this ball basically bounce down onto the ground. So I might draw a bit of ground. I've just added a new layer, and I'll click on the rectangle tool, go to the black arrow tool, click on my object, change my color. I'll make this a sort of a nice green, and then what we want is for this ball to sort of come down and then bounce and bounce and bounce and then bounce off the stage. So to do that, we first need to make this into a symbol, and a symbol allows us to be able to apply tweens, which allow us to animate. Okay, so there's a few steps here, so I'll go through this pretty slowly for you. First we want to click on the symbol and then go to modify, and we want to convert our circle to a symbol. So I'm going to click that, and I'll give it a name of ball, and I'll make it a movie clip, and I'll click OK. Alright, so what we have is a ball up on the top left hand side of our stage, and we have our stage here, and this white part represents what we'll actually see when we test the movie. And here's our timeline. So this represents the amount of time. So at the moment we have our set up for 12 frames per second. We can change that. Just click on it. Movies that you see at cinemas and TV run at about 24 to 30 frames per second. So each frame here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all these frames. So if I set it to 30 frames, then that will take 1 second, okay? So I'm going to go out to frame 10, and I'm going to insert a point in time. So a point of time is a keyframe, so I want to insert a keyframe. The other way to insert a keyframe is to right click and then choose insert keyframe. And then I want to move my ball to the first place, which is down here. And I'll pull on the grass again. So I'll go out to about frame 60, so that's about 3 seconds. Sorry, that's 2 seconds. We'll go out a little bit longer, 90 frames. And I'll insert frame. And then I'd like my ball to bounce back up. So I'll insert another keyframe. And then I'd like my ball to bounce down again, so I'll insert another keyframe. and I'd like my ball to bounce up a little bit this time, so I'm just inserting another keyframe. And another one. Up just a little bit. And then we'll make the ball go off the stage. Okay, so let's just have a look at that. So we have on frame 1 our ball up on the top left hand side, so it's off the stage. Then it's going to come down. Oops. So I'll just move that into place a little bit better. The ball will then bounce up, bounce back down again. Just using my arrow keys to move it into position a little bit more. Bounce up a little bit, and bounce back down again. Bounce up a little bit, and finally bounce back down. And we'll make the ball roll off the stage. So I'll insert another keyframe on frame 80. Set, and I'll take this ball off the stage, just move it over to the right hand side. Okay, so now that we've got all these points in place, these keyframes, we can simply add a tween, and a tween will animate. So if I right click and choose insert classic tween, or create classic tween, sorry, then we'll see that the ball, if we scrub the timeline, which is the numbers up here, click and move your mouse to the right, then you'll see your ball will animate. So I can select all of these like that, and right click and insert classic tween. Alright, so we can see if we scrub the timeline here that our ball will bounce and then roll off the stage. Alright, so that's a basic little animation. So we can test it by going to test movie, so control test movie, or you can hit control enter or command enter on the Mac. And there's our animation. Alright. So if you wanted this to happen a little bit slower, then you could add more time. To the start. Alright, so let's just recap a little bit about what we learned. So we have a timeline up the top here, and this represents the time that it will take for an object to animate, okay? And we have our frames per second over here that will determine the speed of this timeline and how fast it will move. So like I said, most movies and TV shows run at about 24 to 30 frames a second. Over on the right hand side you've got your panels. So if we click on an object, we can go in here, and this is where we could edit the object. Maybe we want to turn on alpha or change different properties of your object. And over on the right hand side are your different tools. So we'll have a little bit more of a play of those later on. But I'd like you to save your Flash file now, file save, and just save it to a location on your computer. Alright, thank you for watching guys. Bye.